very warm welcome to all the women and men in the room. We are here today to discuss a very important topic and also present on the day that we are celebrating today in terms of giving a tribute to all the beautiful women with us, right? Of course, the men also have the women around them, some very important women, their mothers, sisters, partners. And as usual, we will keep this session very interactive, engaging. And to begin with, Ankit has already given a very warm welcome to me. My name is Sakshi. I'm your facilitator here from Trijog. And for those who might be new to us, at Trijog, we believe in something really powerful, right? When women choose to nurture themselves, they build something really powerful. Okay, they build clarity, they build confidence, they build balance, and that enables them to contribute more meaningfully in every aspect of their lives. So, in having said that, can I see some thumbs up, some reactions in the chat box to know that you are ready to participate with me, ready to contribute, ready to chat with me? So, like I was saying, the occasion that we are here today is International Women's Day, and we are all gathered here today as a tribute for women in our lives and being the women ourselves, because the session is not just important for women, but also the wonderful partners, to the awesome to the wonderful men in our lives who are, also here to give and show support to the community and to all the women in their lives, right? So, I've heard the theme that this year's International Women's Day has is "Give to Gain." Because give to gain means what, right? But what we are really talking about is that it focuses on the importance of self care, self trust, and holistic well being. Because when we invest in ourselves, we actually grow both personally and professionally. And it's not about giving away everything we have; it's about giving to ourselves so we can gain the strength. Okay, and that's the theme of this session: the energy, the presence to show up fully in our lives. And before we jump in, can I ask you, just how many of us, okay, and this is not just a question to the women in the room, it's also for the men, okay, how many of you, the women, have woke up in the morning feeling that the first thought is not about themselves, it's about, for example, maybe your child's tiffin, maybe your work deadline, or remembering to call your parents. And about the men, how many of you noticed your women, the women in your lives, having this thought? Can I see some, some thumbs ups in the chat box, or perhaps, the raise hand emoji, anything that I can see? Okay, yes, three participants, four participants raise their hands. Absolutely. How about others? How about the men? Can we see some thumbs ups in the chat box? Five people has raised their arms, right? Absolutely correct, and we agree to it, right? The first thought in the morning is that, oh, I have to take care of this, I have so many things to do, my to-do list is not ending, I have to just be on top of everything, because if I don't, I might just lose it. Okay. And even the men, right? You see your women hustling, right? The women in your life, your mother, always being on top of every little thing. And that's exactly what we are here to talk about, right? To have the kind of, because like we say, you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? And that's what we are here to discuss about. So let's get started. Let's move on to the first slide. And with an introduction icebreaker activity that we begin with as usual, I want to ask you, which area, the women, which area needs you the most right now? Is it mental, emotional, physical, all of the above? For the men, I want to ask you, if you observe the women around you and absolutely observe them, what do you think they need? What kind of support do they need? Can you share with me, the men in the room? I want to hear from everybody, okay? Not just women, but men, because you are very important pillars in the life of your women. I can see a lot of answers coming in already. T, P, T, T. Okay, lovely. I am really appalled to see the answers and the participation. That's great. Okay. Thank you, Vaishali, Ruchi, Litika, Shiva. Thank you. Yogesh, thank you. Jyotsna, lovely. Okay, Akhil. Okay, yes, absolutely right. And all of the above. Why? Because women get trained by through all the aspects of your life, because the women these days, especially the working women, they have to take care of house, they have to take care of the family, they have to take care of their parents, they have to take care of every little thing, including themselves, and the self care becomes the least of the priorities. Do you agree with me? Men, have you observed this? Yes, no? Have you observed this in the women? Can I see some response in the chat box? That the self care becomes the least of the priorities of everything that they have to handle: emotional, physical, mental. And this is what the check in shows, right? It gives us a reality quick check to understand where we are standing right now. We do feel drained. We do feel that, we are low on energy. We are running on the reserve, right? And this is what we are understanding from this activity. So, perfect. And okay, so let's now move on to the next part of the activity. Like we can see, right? The elephant in the room of why do women put themselves last? Can we see that, Akansha? Perfect. So, uh, like I said, or should I say, the question we all know that and we rarely ask out loud: why do women put themselves last? Why do you think the women put themselves last? As you can see on the screen right now, I want you to think about something for a second before I show you the screen. When was the last time you ate a meal, the women, you ate a meal that was still hot? The meal, which was still hot. When was the last time you went to the bathroom without somebody knocking on the door or calling your name? I'm not kidding. I have my mom, and every time she goes into the bathroom, we literally tell her, "Where are you? Where are you? Mom, mom, where are you?" And she does not have a minute to sit. Even in the bathroom, she does not have a single minute to herself. Do you think so? The women in the room agree? And the men, of course, because as kids also we do bother up their mothers, right? Do you all agree with me? Do women do not get the single minute to themselves in the bathroom as well? Okay, so agreed. I can see a lot of hands raised and I can see the response in the chat box coming. So keep participating with me when I ask you these questions because I know that you do agree with me or not, right? And this is very important. It's funny, but it's also not right, right? Because behind these little moments are such big patterns. Look at the screen. Look at what we are showing you on the screen. These are four big reasons women consistently put everyone else before them. First of all, the social conditioning to adjust. From time to time, when we are little girls, the women especially in the room, what do we hear? We hear, "Be nice, beta, adjust a little," right? You know what I mean? We're literally taught that being accommodating is a virtue, right? And think about it. When was the last time you heard somebody tell, your son or your boy that adjust, compromise, right? As girls, we are conditioned and we get a constant soundtrack of let your brother have the first bite, or first let's serve somebody else, and it's just the basic necessity to serve the other person in front of you, not men, women, anybody, not just specifically a gender male, but women too, right? We are told to first serve and then eat. So to adjust, right? Don't be difficult, just manage it now. So we grow up believing that our job is to make things easier for everybody else, even if it makes things harder for us, right? Caregiving expectations, the second point. The question for you here is that who gets asked what's for dinner in your house? Can you tell me? Who gets asked? It's either you or your husband or your kids. Who gets asked first? What's for dinner? The women or the men? Even men can answer, please. And this is no dig to anybody, okay? We are not here to, it's not here to, like, sort of put another gender down. We're just discussing simple things. We're not causing a debate, right? But generally do, right? Especially when you go home, you ask, even me for that matter of fact. I simply go and ask my mom, what's for dinner? Right? So it's generally women, right? And we grew up believing that society has these unwritten rules that are written for women that they are default caregivers, right? Whether it's the children, their partners, aging parents, all the emotional labor at work, it's somehow on the women. It somehow becomes their responsibility, not something that we choose, but something that's just expected out of them, right? And when you don't meet those expectations, suddenly you're not the nice woman anymore. You're selfish, you're cold, you're not maternal enough, and that pressure is real. guilt about resting. That's the third point. This one really hits hard, right? Raise your hand, everybody, the women in the room. I want to know, especially the women also, if they have observed these patterns in the women, that sometimes when you are just, when you're just sitting around, you feel guilty about just taking that little rest because I have so many things to do and I cannot sit idle. Do you feel that? Yes, I can see some raised hands. Do the men feel the same in the room that, especially when they see their mother sitting, they do not sit idle? They are constantly going on, like, no, no, I have to finish this. If someday, just men in the room, a small experiment, if your mother is at home, go and ask them to just sit idly with you and let's see the reaction, what they tell you. I want you to do this little experiment, okay? So do the men agree with this and the women? I can see a lot of raised hands. Yes, absolutely correct, right? Thank you for sharing that, Yogesh. And Nikhil, thank you. So we feel guilty for resting because in our minds, it's because that the guilt, the fact that it has to be earned. We tell ourselves the rest after I finish the dishes is okay. If I do that before, I am not okay with it. And after I respond to those emails, only that. After the kids are asleep, only that. And after never comes. But the truth is, rest is not a reward of productivity. Rest is a requirement for functioning because, again, we cannot pour from an empty cup. The fourth point is belief that the self care equals selfish. This is the big one, right? Somewhere along the way, we have started believing that taking care of ourselves is somehow become selfish. That if we prioritize our needs, we are being a bad mother, we are being a bad daughter, a bad wife, a bad employee. But the question is, have you ever been on a flight? And what do they tell you in the safety demonstration when they are doing the whole demonstration of, do this, do that, the emergency exits are right here? What do they tell you when they talk about those masks coming in down? Can somebody tell me in the chat box, the men, women, both, of course, can I get some answers for this? When you are in the flight, when you're in an airplane, what do they tell you about the mask coming down? What do you do in case of an emergency? Can somebody in the chat box put the answer? Safety, sure. Yes, of course. Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Surabhi. Thank you for sharing that, Jishu. Of course, first help yourself. Put your mask first before helping others. And that's exactly, you are 100% bang on it, correct? Because exactly putting your own oxygen mask on first, not because you're selfish, but because if you can't breathe, you will not be able to help other people around you. So these four things, social conditioning, caregiver expectations, guilt, and the belief that self care is selfish, they're all working together to keep us at the bottom of our own priority list that we have discussed earlier in the session. So the question is, who's decided that this is how it should be? Right now, when we move on, let's go on to an interesting activity. Now, I want to hear from y'all. What are your thoughts about this whole prerogative of of well to give, right? So I have certain statements for you. You have been with me in the sessions before, you know the drill. I will be reading the statement out loud. You have to tell me if the statement is a true statement or a false statement. So put a T or an F in the chat box. Ready to participate? Let's begin. So the first statement is rest must be earned. Do you think that it's true for women? Everybody in the room, the men, women, I want all of us participating. Can we see the answer, Akansha? Yes. Rest must be earned is a false statement, and we know why, right? Because, of course, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And first, if you wear your oxygen mask first, only then will you be able to help others. So it's very well established. Let's go on to the next one. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. What do you think? Is this statement true or false? Okay, I'm getting mixed answers. True, false, true, false. Okay, okay. Can we see the answer? Yes, absolutely. It is false. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. This is a false statement because, again, slowing down, taking that necessary time for yourself is not selfish. It's okay to take that break, to take things down, to even ask for help. Asking help from your partners is also very important. It's not just the men, right? They will not be able to understand everything with all the hustles going on from them. So it's important to ask them for help and support as and when required. I'm very sure they are right here to support you. So asking for help and asking and knowing this that it's not selfish to slow down is okay. Let's move on to the next statement. Strong women don't complain. Very interesting one. What do you think? Yogesh is saying false, Pranali is saying false, Akhil is saying false, Ishwar, everybody is saying okay. Some people are saying it's true. Okay. Let's see the answer. Can we see the answer, Akansha? Yes. Strong women don't complain is a false statement because strong women also have a little bit of breaking points here and there, right? Of course, they will be also tired and exhausted. They are all humans end of the day, and it goes the same thing for men also, right? Strong men and women both they need rest at the same time. So it's not necessarily that true that that being strong is like a benchmark for you to not feel the emotions and not feel weak. Of course there are moments of weakness, so it's false statement. Let's see the next one. Akansha, if possible, follow my cue. If I say no, I'm being selfish. What do you think, true or false? Let's see. I can see a lot of answers coming in. False, 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 false. Okay, and this in consensus comes as if it's false, and you are 100% true. Whoever self told me that it's false, of course, it's a false statement. Let's move on to the next one. We have already established why this is false. Taking care of myself benefits only me. What do you think? True or false? False, false, false. Okay, it is false. Absolutely correct. Let's see the next one. Can we go back? Okay, yeah, let's go further. I thought that it's somehow wrong. Okay, right. So now, mental health, the constant noise. We have already done this activity. We have understood about, how it works. Let's retire the idea that self-care is false, that self-care is selfish, self-care is strategic. If you have to stay effective in the present, available, and for your people that you love, you have to take the right self-care. All right. All right. Now, okay, we are going to talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough, which is the mental health load. Okay. And I'm not talking about just stress. I'm talking about the constant invisible noise that never stops. And I'm very, very sure the women in the room agree, and if not, the men in the room can also pay attention and observe how this is important. And you can do this notice part when you are with the women around you, right? Let's look at what's on the screen, right? Overthinking, decision fatigue, planning for everyone, pressure to keep it together. Does any of this sound familiar to all of you right here in the room? Do you think that this happens with you when you're right here? Women in the room are saying yes. What about the men? What do you think? Have you observed this? If not, observe it from today. Like, just take the step and notice this around the women in you. They might be overthinking constantly. Ask them. Probably you can do a gentle checking. Do you do this? Does this happen? Right? And the answer will come as a yes, because of course there is decision fatigue, the planning. The thing about mental health for women is that it's not just about their own thoughts. It's about managing everyone else's life in our heads too. The constant pressure of, oh, has my kid taken the studied, have they done the complete, homework and everything? Has my mother eaten? Has my husband taken his medicines? Has something like this happened? It constantly keeps happening. The noise in the background, it doesn't end. The to-do list, when you are even on the bed right now, you're just thinking about your to-do list, that is there for tomorrow. You're thinking about, I have to wake up early, pack my daughter's lunch. Do I need to schedule that dentist appointment for myself or for my for my dad? What's for dinner tomorrow? Did I respond to that email? My mother's birthday is coming up. Should I plan something? Just exactly the way that I'm seeing right now. Does this noise happen? It does, right? And your brain is like a browser. Okay, imagine this. Your brain, okay, it's like a laptop. Okay, and there are 50 tabs open. And say, for example, there is a very irritating music playing in the background in one of those 50 tabs, and you're not able to find where. And that's exactly what this noise happens in the mind. So I understand how irritating that might become for you, right? And look at this line, what we have said. Tired always doesn't mean lazy. Sometimes it means overloaded. And when's the last time you had completely blank mind? Can somebody put in the chat box? When was the last time that you began? If you don't want to answer that in the chat box, it's also okay to reflect back. Men, I would really recommend going and asking and doing this check-in for your parents and you know zero. Okay, understood. So I would want you to do this check-in with your partners today, or your mothers, or your sisters, just to do and notice how they feel. In tribute for Women's Day, do this. It'll make them feel nicer. Okay, just the fact that you asked. And the constant noise that we are going to talk about, it looks like something like this that we are going to show you in the scenarios in the further next part. Stay with me. Okay, so let's move on. So, like I said, the constant noise part, I'm going to read some scenarios, and it's an interesting sort of a situation where I have just written the scenarios for you, and you have to identify if this is a green flag or a red flag, and then we'll discuss a little bit about what it is, right? So, the scenario is Aarti finishes office work at 7 p.m. She then plans meals, responds to school messages, and schedules doctor appointments. At night, she scrolls her phone because her mind won't switch off. Women, men, green flag, red flag. Okay, I can see a lot of. Okay, a lot of people are saying green flag. I want to know why. And I want to know why it is red flag also. Can people tell me why they have written red flag or green flag? Justify your answer with one word or one statement. Well, it is a red flag, of course, but is she avoiding rest, or is her mind unable to slow down? Okay, Akhil says she's not taking care of herself. Absolutely, Akhil. You're right. Mind unable to slow down. Mind won't switch off, unable to slow down. Absolutely, right? And this is 100% correct because her mind is going on that chatter of what to do next, what to do further, how do I manage, how do I. Because the fear is, and it's associated with fear, if I do not think about it so much, I might forget about it and I might fall short. So you understand how this goes, and we'll talk about why this comes in as well because it's an interesting part, a very important part of this session. So it is a red flag. And is she avoiding rest, or her mind isn't able to slow down? Yes, you all are correctly guessing it right. Let's move on to the next scenario, scenario number two. Okay, Meera says yes to extra work because no one else will do it properly. She feels irritated when others don't help. She calls herself bad at delegating. What do you think? Red flag or green flag? First, the question is red or green. I can see the answers coming in. Yes, this happens with men as well, and that's 100% true, Shiva. Absolutely correct. Any caregiver or any person in that position faces this, right? Okay. Let's go on to the next slide to see if this is red or green. Okay, it is a red flag. Absolutely correct. Because if can we go back to the next slide before Akansha? Right. Because right now, when we can see no one else will do it properly, she feels irritated. She is not delegating the work because she feels what? She feels irritated that when others don't help, she calls herself at bad at delegating. So it is a red flag because let's go on to the next one. Yes. Is this perfectionism or fear of losing control? What do you guess, people? People in the room, what do you all guess? Is this perfectionism or fear of losing control? And also, mental health is for everybody. It's not just women, it's men too, right? People, in general, human beings. Mental health is very important. Perfectionism, absolutely correctly guessed. This is perfectionism because if she was bad at delegating, she would not have the people around her, or she would not have those skills. So she can learn those skills. But the fear of perfectionism, the fact that she's holding back is also kind of causing the barrel or kind of a hurdle in the way. Absolutely correct. So let's go on to the next one. Okay. Now, Sana is feeling tired even after 8 hours of sleep. She manages conflicts at home and supports everyone around emotionally. She rarely talks about how she feels. Is this a green flag or a red flag? Shiva says red, Ruchi says red. Okay, perfect. Let's see the answer. Absolutely correct. And why is this a red flag? Is her body tired or is she emotionally drained? Okay, Lakshmi says emotionally drained. Right, absolutely correct. Because she is so emotionally drained that she is not able to, think, and the thoughts are not processing well. So, definitely a red flag. Let's move on to the next scenario. Ritu takes a Sunday afternoon nap. She switches off work notifications for a few hours. She tells her family she needs quiet time. Green flag or red flag? Okay. What about the men in the room? Are you answering to me? Yes, Shiva says yes. Green flag. Okay. Jishu says green. Sarika says green. Let's see the answer. Okay. Rajesh, Rupali, Sarika, everybody saying green. Absolutely correct. This is a green flag. And what makes this rest intentional instead of lazy? Can anybody tell me? Yes, intentional, sure. But why? What makes it rest? What makes this rest intentional instead of lazy? I mean, what does it change? Absolutely correct, Lakshmi, because she is restoring her energy. She needs the self time so that once she is back on her, the battery is charged. It's sort of, let's give you an analogy of the phone or technology. If the battery is empty, how will you be able to function better, right? And that's as simple as that. It also applies to the men. It just like I said, mental health is not just for women; it's for men too, right? If you're not recharged, if you're not setting the right boundaries, if you're not getting enough rest, you'll not be able to function at the optimum. So, what's important is to know when to take that proper rest and self care time. The time for yourself to rest. That's very. Let's move on to the next one. Emotional health. Okay, perfect. So we are done with the scenarios part and we have understood a lot about the red flags and the green flags and we have understood the kind of barriers to it as well, right? Now, we come to the talking about emotional health and feeling everything all the time, okay? And while we have kind of figured out and talked about so much, so about just understanding self-care and all that, what are the barriers to it, right? So, mental load is something that we have already spoken about. Now, emotional load, honestly, this one is even heavier, right? Look at the ones that we are seeing on the screen right now: emotional labor, holding space for everybody, suppressing feelings. I'm fine when you're not. What about people? People in the room, tell me, do you think that this happens? Do you see these signs or things in yourself? The emotional labor, the feeling of constantly being heavy all the time, or holding space for everybody, and again, not being able to hold that space for yourself. Suppressing feelings because I can't. Especially if you see the generation before us, the women earlier, not I would not just categorize women, but the generation before us, they were always very hesitant of sharing what they were feeling instead of talking about it. Why? Because the conditioning, the social conditioning of telling that you don't show emotions on the face, it's okay, deal with it. Not just women, but the men too were facing that. But the generation now wants to speak about their emotional health because talking about it makes us feel lighter, it makes us feel better, and it gives us strategies and solutions to know what the problems are, understanding and breaking those patterns, right? And again, I'm fine when you're not seeing that is not okay. So, on that note, I want to ask everybody in the room, give me one feeling word that you're feeling right now. It could be excited, curious, enjoying, anything, or any kind of feeling word that you're feeling right now in the moment. On that note, can you share it with me, everybody in the room, in the chat box? Okay, stable. How about other people? Happy, excited, curious, any kind of feeling word. I want answers. So I get tired, happy, tired. Yes, right? But don't worry, people in the room who are tired, you have the weekend for yourself. You will get the enough rest this weekend. Yes? For women, treat yourselves. It's Women's Day on 8th March, and men, treat yourself and your partner, your mother, for a break with yourself and of course all of y'all. So take a break. Yes? Okay, so let's talk about, the way that you're stressed constantly, and meanwhile, your own feelings, they get pushed down, right? Not now, I'll deal with it later, except that later, like I said, never comes. And what's exhausting is feeling everything while pretending you're feeling nothing, right? And this is why so many women say I'm fine and all that. But feelings don't disappear, right? Because you ignore them. They just show up in different ways. It can be like irritability, fatigue, resentment, physical illness. And so let's talk about when we keep pushing our feelings down, it creates a cycle for us. And let's look at that cycle in the next part. Okay, like we can see, and this is one of the most important slides in the presentation. This is the guilt resentment cycle, the one that I was talking about earlier. And I guarantee that if you have been stuck in it, you will recognize this, and the men too can pay extra attention and try to pick points and notice this in the women around you, especially your mom, partner, sister, sometimes daughter. And let me walk you through it, okay? The first step is step one, overgive, okay? You say yes to everything, you're exhausted, you take more than you can handle, and you do things because no one else will, or it's easier to just do it, right? That's number one. Number two, step two is when that happens, you overgive, then you feel unseen because you say yes, and after a while your effort becomes expected. That's going to happen. That's human functioning. No one says thank you anymore. Appreciation fades and you start feeling invisible, right? Step 3, feeling resentful. In irritation that kind of builds up, okay? You start thinking, why am I the only one doing everything? Why doesn't anyone help me? Why are people not helping me by their own? Right? Resentment creeps in. You start feeling resentful. Step 4, guilty, right? Feeling guilty. And but of course, once the resentment happens, you feel guilty because the guilt kicks in and says that I should not feel this way. They need me. I'm being selfish. I should be grateful. Guilt eats you up, right? Step 5, overgive again. So, because you feel guilty, you feel that, oh, I'm already falling short, I should not be feeling this way. Again, what you do is you give even more to make guilt go away, and you overcompensate, and the cycle starts all over again. This is what we call as the guilt resentment cycle. And do you think that you see some of these patterns ever, or you might have noticed something that you might be doing earlier, maybe in the past, in in the present, maybe you are feeling this way? Can I see some raised hands in the room, or maybe a thumbs up in the chat box? Maybe the men might have noticed it in the family. Anybody? Okay, I can see a lot of hands raised. Can I see some thumbs ups in the chat box if yes? All right, so now let's do an emotional check-in. It's okay, Akansha. Let's move further. Imagine, like these emotions happening, but it's fine. It's also okay, right? If you're not feeling it, but how to break the cycle? You have to stop over giving in the first place, and that's what's very very important. Okay, you set boundaries right away. You ask for help. You say, "I can't do this alone," and before you're drowning in resentment, ask for the support, right? You ask right away. So, if we can go back on the slide, Akansha, I want all of the women and the men in the room to make a commitment and tell me what is the one thing where you can ask help for, to your partners, to your family, and the men, where is the one thing and place where you can provide support? Please put it in the chat box. I would love to hear what you're facing in the real life, because this gives us idea about what you're actually going through, right? So I understand. Overgive. Okay, you need support there, Chaitra. You're gonna ask for the overgive part. What about the men in the room? How can you provide support in one place? Feeling resentful, okay? It doesn't necessarily needs to be in the cycle, okay? I'm talking about the part where in real life, say for example, if you want help, perhaps I'm going to ask my husband to help me with a little bit of cooking in the end of the day, right? Or emotional support, having to be for each other. Shiva, what a great thing to say, right? Emotional support. Women sometimes, they're like, I will manage everything, but just be there with me. Provide me emotional support, right? That's a very powerful tool. So perfect. Great answers. Lovely. Thank you, everybody. Lovely for for that. And also, women in the room, can you tell me how Shiva's answer makes you feel? If your partner or your family provides you with emotional support, will you be much more happier as compared to where you're now? Yes, no? Yes, absolutely. See, so Shiva, you're bang on correct. and you provide that support to your family and your partner, and they will be very happy. Perfect. Great. So now let's do the emotional check-in activity like we were previously showing you. Again, a simple activity about knowing your current emotional state. Let's move on, Akansha. I'm going to ask you three questions, and you have to give, and I have given you five options for those three statements. Okay. Pick one that feels the most true to you. So the first statement is, how have you been reacting lately? I want you to tell me, are you feeling snapping or feeling easily triggered? Are you feeling withdrawal or feeling nothing much? Are you feeling managing but feeling heavy inside? D or E? What do you think? For the first statement, you put your answers down in the chat box. Can I see some responses? Okay. But at the moment, if you were to feel one feeling, I don't know who put the answer there. Lakshmi, if you have to choose one at the moment for the current moment, what would that be? C. Okay. What about the other people? What about men? You can do this emotional check-in too. It's okay. Let's do this emotional check-in for everybody. How are you feeling in the moment? Eventually, all of end of the day, we are all humans, right? So you can just let me know. Okay. How about other people? There's 62 of us. Can I see some more responses? Okay, note down your responses because it's very important to note down if you have put A, B, or C, because we are later going to give you a category of where you fit in at the moment for the emotional check-in. Perfect. Can we see the next one? Statement number 2. When you get a free moment, you usually A. Feel restless or irritated. B. Scroll mindlessly or distract yourself. C. Feel tired but push through. D. Actually relax. And E. Start thinking about the next task. Can I see some responses already coming in? D, D, C, E, E, C, E, D. All right. Perfect. Note your answers, people. Second statement. Let's go to statement number 3. Your body has been what? Tense or edge or on edge. B. Low on energy or sluggish. C. Functioning but fatigued. D. Light and comfortable. And E. Exhausted but weird or wired. Okay. Is it weird? Is this near a spelling mistake? We'll check it. Okay, let's see the main answering category, the group wise segregation of what category we fall into. Okay, so everybody, if you have mostly answered A as options, okay, if most of the time your answers were A, you are irritable, overstimulated, you are feeling a lot of tension and frustration, all of that. If your category falls in mostly B, you're right now a little numb. Okay, you're emotionally drained, tired, perhaps you need a lot of rest. Okay, if you're irritable, again, you need to put small pauses and breaks in your day. When you feel irritable, take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. Okay. And it's a very important technique to do all the time. We're going to come to the strategies later, but just do that when you feel now. If you are in the category and you have answered this, just take a pause, a break, relax, and rejuvenate. What you need is rest. If you fall into category C, sad but functioning, you're carrying a lot of weight quietly. So, again, what's important is pause. Pause to just take a minute, come back to your own self, and boundary setting is very important because you're taking a lot of responsibility on yourself and not asking for enough help. If you're feeling calm and regulated, that's okay. Continue doing what you're doing. That's great. And you're going on the right direction. If you feel overwhelmed, because if you have answered mostly E's, you're mentally overloaded, right? 50 tabs are open, you're not able to shut off. So again, take a deep breath in, do a little bit of meditation practice, and come back to normal. And I'm sure with enough practices and with enough constant habit of doing these things for yourself, you will feel better. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So now we have done the emotional check-in activity. Now let's do and talk a little bit about our physical health, right? When the body is keeping the score. Remember, people, it's not just that that women are coming and following into this category. It's everybody. But specifically, if we talk about women today on this occasion, we ignore the fatigue and tiredness, right? Look at the screen, everything on the screen right now. Unmanaged stress, hormonal fluctuations, poor sleep, and I'll rest later mindset, right? Again, we have spoken about this in detail of why this happens, the I'll rest later part, because of the guilt resentment cycle. Poor sleep, again, because you're constantly tired, and even if you're drained completely throughout the day, the mind is not sleeping, your body is, and you're not getting that restful enough, that regulation every day. Perhaps your hormones are not in the correct, flow, because women go through periods, they have cycles going on, they PMS. A lot of times, that becomes kind of an issue for, for regulating your mood. So you become very irritable some days you feel happier. And if the fluctuations are happening a lot, then it's the right time to show and speak to your gynecologist, because then a PCOS, PCOD, those issues might be in place. So identifying these things in yourself is very, very important. A lot of times there is unmanaged stress can cause to a lot of changes in your cycles, and that's very important to kind of regulate, because stress can cause delayed periods, you have hormones everywhere. That's an issue. So women in the room, can you all share with me, do you feel that sometimes during the cycles you feel very irritable, very very low, you feel like just I want to just not talk to anybody, I feel very frustrated, I feel like I'm going to bombard on somebody? And if men have ever come across this situation like this, do women in the room feel this way? Okay, even if you want to reflect silently, it's okay, right? So, of course, like we said, you push through exhaustion. The stress is just mental, especially for the women. Stress affects hormones and the sleep. The body is not repairing itself, and I'll rest later mindset is due to the guilt resentment. Okay, now let's do a short activity to give you a little health snapshot. Okay, and this one is personal and reflective, and I want you to take a moment and think about honestly about yourself right in the moment. You don't have to share this out loud if you don't want to, but if you can in the chat box, it'll be lovely. For the men in the room, if you are noticing these things in the women, probably there's this one thing that you can tell about, about the same. So, one mental drain, one emotional drain, and one physical sign that you ignore. Can you share these three things with me in the chat box right now to know that you are going through something? This will be like a snapshot. And for the men in the room, perhaps you can send it about yourself, or you can share about the women in the room that you are expecting, that you are seeing and observing about. Can you give me one mental health, your health snapshot? How you're feeling right now? I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Yes, you are
Okay.
audible.
Okay. Sneha. Okay, yes. Okay, now I'm getting the answers. Calm and relaxed. I'm sleepless, but I'm just ignoring it. Okay. Two. Right, right. So this is your mental health snapshot, not just your mental health, but your health snapshot in general. It's very important. So you identify this and you work towards what's the one change that I can make for this direction. Yes? Okay. So now let's move on to the next part. Great. So now we are saying that practical self-care is very essential. Okay. It's not the Instagram perfect self-care. It's real. Okay. Somebody says body makes too tired and not able to do anything. I understand, Bhagyashree. So what you do is this weekend, just take a big, good enough break for yourself. Set boundaries. Say I need the break and go out. Go out or relax or just stay in and sleep. Okay. Now, we are saying that self-care is very practical. Okay, mental clarity, emotional regulation, and physical restoration aren't just concepts. We are asking you to really work on these things on a deeper level. Okay, so we've talked about all the problems. Now let's talk about the solutions, but not the Instagram version of self-care, the real version. Self-care is not just bubble baths, face masks. I mean, those are really nice too, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that actually help you restore yourself. Okay, look at the screen. Mental clarity. 10-minute brain dump. Okay. Take a notebook. Just dump all and everything that is there in your mind on the paper. Okay. You don't have to ever worry about somebody reading it, because it'll be your personal space, and get it out of your brain onto the paper. Again, saying I'll get back to you is okay. It's very well. Let's normalize saying I'll get back to you later. Okay. Let's normalize making boundaries. Okay. Get it. You don't have to answer everything immediately, but yourself, and give yourself to the time to think. Buy yourself that time, right? Reducing unnecessary decisions. Simplify. Meal prep, so you're not deciding what to eat every day. Capsule wardrobe, so you're not deciding what to wear every day. Reduce decision fatigue, for example, already preparing your weekly on weekends. If you get time, prepare your wardrobe accordingly. That Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, Friday, everything that I'm going to wear. Meals. Perhaps sit on a weekend, decide with your partner and your family and your kids. This is the meal and this is the routine in the week that we'll prepare. Do any of you follow any of these things already mentally? The 10-minute brain dump, or perhaps saying I'll get back to you, setting boundaries, reducing unnecessary decisions. One, two, or three. Can you let me know in the chat box? Women, men, both. Are you already doing it? Okay, absolutely. Okay. No, yes. Okay, some people are doing it, some not. No problem. If you have attended the session today, so now you have gotten your answer, right? How you have to begin with. Okay, perfect. Now, the second part is emotional regulation. Naming feelings. Don't just feel them, name them. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling resentful. Naming difficult emotions, it refuses the intensity of that feeling. Okay, sometimes just saying that yes, I am irritated is okay. Yes, I am frustrated, it's okay, because it normalizes the feeling, and secondly reduces the intensity of it. So once the intensity has reduced, you are in the right state of mind to go to practical solutions and help you out with answers. Okay, honest conversations. Stop saying that I'm fine. Have real conversations with the people who can hold space for you. Your partners are also trying, they are also having some hustle, so give them that leeway and actually share. Do not say just and end the conversations with just saying I'm fine, right? Taking pauses before reacting is again very very important, because of course don't react from a place of overwhelm. When something triggers you, pause, breathe, then respond, because as women we sometimes have the tendency of reacting immediately without then feeling guilty again. So of course you have to do that. um Yes, Varun, I think you can leave. We have already recorded the session, so Ankit will be sharing that with you shortly. Okay, and then of course, physical restoration, proper sleep is important, hydration is important, and short mindful breaks also very important. This sounds very basic, but most of us are very very dehydrated and we don't realize. Hence, we keep a bottle of water with us handy. Okay, and that's very very important as well. Sometimes we don't know what we are feeling, but wants to stay alone or feeling sad or depressed. What to do in such situations? How to get back in the energy? So, Rohisha, it's very, very important to understand firstly, yes, accepting what you just said, you're feeling sad or depressed, to accepting that is very, very important, and understanding what you're feeling, identify your feeling is very important. Now, what to do in such cases? Of course. So, identifying to know if you're feeling sad, why am I feeling sad? What is causing the sadness? What's the reason behind it? Am I feeling sad because I'm feeling that nobody is giving me enough help and support? Or perhaps something at work happened, something with some friend happened? Understanding the root problem. Okay, that's very important. Again, how to get back the energy? Do things that make you happy, do things that are causing you, that are source for your happiness, perhaps practicing a hobby, or going for a quick walk, doing meditation. Sometimes meditation takes our mind off from a lot of stress, right? It regulates our emotions. And then when you are actually in a regulated state, ask yourself your question, why am I feeling this way? What is causing the feeling behind it? I hope I was able to help you, Rohisha. No problem. Okay, now because we have spoken so much about the practical part of it, now let's understand the give to gain, the theme of this year, the reframe. So we're getting close to the end, and I want you to leave with the most important reframe from the entire session. When a woman is well rested, she's more patient, she's more present, more decisive, more emotionally available. I want you to read that again. When you are well, you are better. So let's stop framing self care as selfish. Let's start framing it as a strategic help that we need. And don't take care of yourself despite the people you love. Take care of yourself because of them. They need you. Hence, pour the water in your cup. First be full and then pour it into other people's cup. Okay. Look at this. Children. Now let's go further. In the next slide, like I said, because you have to take care of the people around you, they are benefiting from it. The men in the room, of course, do you think that your partner is more, is more better and regulated when she's happier? Do you agree? Yes, no, maybe. Can I get some responses, especially from the men in the room? Do you think that your partner is more happier and more regulated when is well rested? Yes, and women in the room, if you are well rested, you do benefit. Who benefits from this? The children. They get a present, patient, emotionally regulated parent, your partner, because they get somebody who has bandwidth for connection, workplace, because they get someone who's sharp, focused, and effective. Community, because they get somebody who shows up without resentment, and you get to actually enjoy your life instead of just surviving it. So when you rest, you're not taking away from others, you're investing in your ability to show up for them. That's the reframe, and that's the well to give. Okay, and now let's go to the next slide. A woman plays, like we said, multiple roles: mother, daughter, partner, caregiver, employee. Juggling all that definitely erodes boundaries or doesn't let you set boundaries get created itself. Remember, boundaries are not rejection, they are capacity management. And again, when you say no, you're not rejecting the person or the request, you're acknowledging your own limitations, okay? And that's just okay. It's not just, that's not just okay, it's necessary. And what can this look like? You can easily say, I can't take on that project right now because I can help, because I have things going on, but I can definitely help with that in next month. I need an hour to myself before I can engage with the family. I'll tell you one thing that we do, okay? Personally, in my family, we practice this every day. If the chores in the house are very well divided between everybody, right? Everyone in the family. And when my mom comes in, she says, I'll need one day wherein I'm not going to do anything at all, and everybody has to manage on their own. Okay. And everyone in the family gets that one day. So perhaps you can practice that as well, right? It's a very important practice. Do you do something like this in your family? Can you share in the chat box how you make boundaries with the people around you? If not, Chaitra, try doing it. Try doing this and see how and what wonders it works for you. Like I said, if you get and you're well rested, you will be feeling better. What about other people? Do you feel that you're practicing any such boundaries like that in the family already? You can please share interesting ways so people also get and benefit from it. Okay, that brings us to the next part of the last part of the session, which is a commitment activity. We were already committing to something, so we have covered a lot today about overwhelming feelings. And I don't want you to lose. Akansha, can we please move to the next slide? I'm not going to ask you about 10 things. I'm going to ask you about one thing. Commit to one thing that you're going to work on, a realistic self-care action that will practice going forward. Is it boundary setting? Is it effective communication to share what you're feeling? Not getting stuck in the guilt resentment cycle, perhaps something else. Maybe a 5 minute brain dump, in the paper and pen that I told you about. 10-minute walk every day, 30 minutes alone on Sundays. Anything in the chat box that everybody would like to share, men, women, both? Okay. Boundary setting and self care. Okay. Okay. Taking self time. Perfect. So everybody says self care is important and this is how they will do it. Okay. Giving time to myself. Okay. Thank you for all the lovely responses. And like I said, we are at the end. Thank you so much for being here today. I think we are going to launch a feedback form and poll right now, Ankit, right?
Yeah.
And before we end, if you have any questions for me, please ask right away. I'd really appreciate if you can please fill the feedback for us. And remember, you're not selfish for taking care of yourself. You're not weak for needing the rest. You're just learning. And you're not difficult for setting boundaries. You're human and you deserve the best. Rest well. Take care of yourselves. And thank you for all of you to participating this way with full energy in the full session and participating and talking to me.
So thank you so much, Sakshi, for such a thoughtful and insightful session, and thank you so much for all the audience who have come and joined for this session. Wishing everyone a very meaningful and International Women's Day. Have a wonderful day ahead, and please continue to take care of yourselves and the one who is interlinked with you.